Good evening, everybody. Welcome into the Odd Rhythm Fantasy Studios. I'm your host, Odd Rhythm Fant, and I got my main man from another mother over there. We got Mr. Eli Appletoff over there.
Yeah, hump day. Yeah.
So, well, we're sorry, everybody. We were a little late. Eli was having some audio difficulties, and we were troubleshooting that. So we were sorry if we were just a little bit late on that. So we apologize on that. But
Should happen.
yeah, I mean, Eli's kinda anal about how we perform, about how we perform, but how we sound, so it's
This,
like, "Alright,
this, is,
dude."
this isn't the only place where I'm anal.
Oh.
Yeah.
But, yeah, welcome in, everybody. We're gonna hit some even though waivers are already kinda hit already, but, I mean, if you still haven't actually checked out your teams, we'll give you our waiver guides. We'll actually give you some squad blitz, some little bit of that. Then Eli will give you some DFS like always. I might have a little something for that too, but we'll kind of see. And yeah, I think Eli's got we have a blacklist. Yes, that's right, a blacklist.
I've been waiting. Yeah. It's a new segment on the Out of Rhythm channel. You know what? You have three bad games in a row. You know, we kind of like it was like an offhanded joke he made to me on Messenger, and I was like, I'm like, I like that. I'm gonna keep that in mind. So we have our first blacklist player tonight, and I think you guys should put two and two together and figure out just who it is. But we'll get to that. Jay was mentioning, got lots of goodies tonight. Go and we're all over the place. Where are we at? We're at Discord. Instagram needs to come up a little bit, but we're over there too. Obviously, Spotify, you can go listen to any of the previous stuff. And then when this episode's done, you'll be able to listen to it over there as well. YouTube, as always, Jay's got a great playlist. We got YouTube Shorts if you just want us in a snack size form. Podbean, Apple, a bunch of different platforms have us. So go and check us out. And you know what? We've been having pretty good luck so far. So you might want to follow our pick six. We might help you win some money this week, and we'll both have our there it is, money.
Yeah, and
coming up probably about an hour and 10 show roughly here coming.
Yeah, so stay tuned as well because we're slowly but surely we're going to jump into like the 2025 draft class. We're gonna do a little bit of that too as well. So we're gonna try to do some short clips, little short videos on spotlight on these guys. So that'll be just an uploaded video at some time. So we're still working out the details and graphics and stuff like that we want to put out there. That's gonna be useful for everybody. So we're gonna kind of work on that and put a little bit of that out there, and those will, probably be a Saturday thing. So maybe, for future reference, if you want to follow us on that, you sure can. I have a playlist already ready for that. That's just when we decide to jump that course.
Yeah, and I almost said LA Knights catchphrase for the 10th time. We've only been streaming for like four minutes here. Yeah. There it is. So if any of you are familiar with us, if you're tuning in, where's the NFL at, guys? What happened to why aren't you previewing week 3, or what about waivers? What about any of the stuff from last year? Well, we've decided to go the college route. We mentioned this on last week's show. NFL, if we have time Saturday, we might do a waiver show, like a last call. That's the name we've used before on a different show that we did. So last call, we might, yeah, I know Jamie came up with it, but we might use that name and call it last call, and have a little bit of NFL talk. Our main focus right now is college, obviously, and we want to start cranking out college spotlights as soon as we get everything fine tuned with that, like Jay was saying. But NFL stuff, if anything, it would be a Saturday night. It'd be a Saturday night before. Oh, there's Bubba again. Go Big Red. You damn right. This is the measuring stick game. This is the measuring stick game. Can't Fox Friday night. If you got nothing going on Friday night, if you're out at a bar or actually in Lincoln watching the game, I mean, this is going to be a great one. Nebraska's, they easily handled Colorado. UTEP was no match last week, 34-3. I mean, it was North Iowa. Yeah, exactly. Everybody's looking. But now they have a foe that's worthy. I think Illinois could easily be an 8-win team. So at least now's your stiff competition coming. So and we'll get into in a second.
Yeah, I was actually listening to a pod last night. Yeah, well, Locked On Nebraska or Cornhuskers, whatever the hell you want to call it. I was listening to them. Does the huntee become the hunted now, since that we are actually a ranked team now? So is it vice versa now? So I mean, it's kind of one of those contents. It's just kind of like, since we are a ranked team now, is everybody going to come for our heads now? It's kind of one of those things that's like interesting. I mean, I like the uptick that Nebraska is having. I think this will be a challenge game for them. I believe, not quite, but Illinois, they're kind of mediocre. I mean, they're ranked 2, so I'm like,
it's a good I mean, they've been Chase Brown a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Tip Ryman, the tight end from the Cardinals. I know he's like third string, but I mean, they've had some skill position guys enter the NFL the last few years. So
yeah, they have.
Illinois is a solid program. I think they can win. I was thinking 8-4. I mean, I kind of a surprise team this year, especially if they could come in and win in Nebraska, and definitely an 8-win team. But 7 to 8 wins, I think it's fair. They'll make at least a bowl game. I think Illinois will definitely do that. And Bub was saying, I think the Ohio State game, we're gonna, I mean, obviously, I think every year, if you're in the Big Ten, and now we added a couple more teams that you're going to mark the calendar for, Oregon, maybe USC, maybe years when Washington's really good. So you're going to mark those teams as well. But it's Michigan, Ohio State. Those are the 2 teams you mark down. Those are the teams always in the mix for the national championships and always up in the rankings. So yeah, Ohio State, Nebraska, all this. I mean, there's a bunch of measuring stick games coming up. Oh, Pete, what's up, sexy? How you doing, baby? What you bring me today, baby? But yeah, we're talking a few of the. You know what? That's what we'll start off with tonight. A few of the big games coming up this weekend. Obviously, Illinois, Nebraska. Another big one that I like a lot, and it would be a good game to bet on. I think Oklahoma, Tennessee. We'll see what Nico can do against that Oklahoma defense. I think that's going to be another good one. Sampson, the running back from Tennessee, has just been tearing it up. Had a big week last week. I called that. I put him in our week 3 out of rhythm players to watch, and Sampson didn't disappoint. So Dylan Sampson is an absolute stud. Got the nod. I got a different kind of naughty there, big boy. What the hell did we get? Iowa versus the Gophers on primetime.
Iowa's actually
Gophers got a defense. I mean, that PJ Fleck probably has the best defense he's had his entire time in Minnesota. I mean, that Minnesota defense is elite. I mean, they're putting up fantasy points. They're shutting people down. I know the competition hasn't been great so far. I know that they're going to have to play some heavyweights in the Big Ten, but Minnesota so far, if you're a Gophers fan, I'd be very proud. I mean, you're going to make at least a bowl game this year. I think they'll get at least 6 wins, 6-7 wins.
Pete has always been a funny man.
He's poo-pooing on everything. I know how Pete feels about this.
Well, since we were kind of talking, I mean, usually we save this for last, but I mean, since we're kind of talking about some of the I mean, these are some notable games here. We got USC, Michigan, UNC 11, Michigan 18. I know Michigan actually made a quarterback change here, so I mean, that's going to be a little bit different. I was going to look into that a little bit. So that's going to be a great game. USC was on a bye, and I'm hoping Michigan loses. I'm just hoping
Jay, they're not going to stop Miller Moss. I mean, it's USC. USC is going to go in there and win. I mean, no, I think it's going to be double digits.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're going to win by 13, 14 points. I don't think what Bubba's saying. That game will be like Minnesota versus Nebraska last year, like 10-3. Yeah, the Iowa Minnesota reminds me of the old Alabama. Before offenses got big 15 years ago. Reminds me of those old LSU Alabama 6-3 games. That's what it's gonna be like 9-6 Iowa or something.
Yeah, for sure. The other game too is gonna be Oklahoma State versus Utah.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna be a very good game. I know you mentioned to me that there's a chance that maybe Cam Rising does play. I haven't heard
He's, yeah,
I
he's
haven't heard
playing.
that yet, but that's why I was like, "Ooh, this might be a rough game for Utah." Because I mean, even if they didn't have Cam Rising, Oklahoma State's just gonna run right
They're,
over them.
well, shit. Let's, you know what? Since you're talking, I'll get the Gold Star Week 3 player out of the way while you're talking about OK State. I mean, we thought the offense was just Ollie Gordon. Wrong. We
They
got
they have a they have
Al
a cou they actually have a couple good wide receivers, don't get
they
us
do.
wrong there.
Couple good wide receivers, and the quarterback here, I mean, 2018, I remember him at Texas Tech. I mean, I'm a weird guy. I watched some random Big 12 games back then, and you know, he was kind of he came like 2 years after Patrick Mahomes, but I mean, he was supposed to be the next big Texas Tech quarterback, you know, after Mahomes left for the NFL, and just never kind of happened there. He had one good, you know, his freshman year, one good year, and then kind of transferred a couple times and ended up at Oklahoma State. And this year, you know, he might have a career year. He really will. He's got weapons to work with. Got Ollie Gordon. I mean, enough said. Ollie Gordon to work with in the backfield.
Right?
He just tore up Tulsa last week. Threw for almost 400 yards, 5 touchdowns. He doesn't give you much in the game, you know, like rushing game. Like, so there's going to be more valuable fantasy quarterbacks. But I want to give him, his roses. You know, kind of like Klubnik last week, you know, from Clemson. You know, because I'm not sure how many times these guys are going to throw 4 or 5 touchdowns. So I wanted to give him some love, especially earlier in the year when competition isn't as good. So
Ha have
for the year, I mean, he's 67% completion, which isn't too bad for, you know, not terrible. Almost 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns, 2 picks. So
have you
Alan Bowman, and he's a free agent, Jay. I'm probably not going to have him in my Fantrax waivers here. That's coming up, but
Yeah.
in a lot of fantasy leagues, he's available. So or for you know, pick 6, which we're going to get to too. I mean, pick 6, he's an option there. If he's, you know, over under passing yards, you know, I'd probably take the over. I'd have to see what his line is for Saturday, but yeah, I've been very impressed so far. He's not a guy that was on anybody's radar to have maybe a 25, 26 touchdown season, but that's where it's headed.
While we're yeah. Did you see that meme with Cam Rising and Bowman for being like the oldest quarterbacks like in the
Oh
league? They're
yeah,
going back facing
yeah,
each
that's
other like
funny.
7 years in college and like they're one of like the oldest.
Getting all that good NIL money. I don't blame him.
I'd seen a meme somewhere. I'm like, oh my god, I thought it was fucking hilarious. So I was like, oh my god. Yeah, I think they did they pundit to a like a Tom Brady and some other thing. I can't remember exactly, but it was just hilarious. I was just like, oh I was giggling like a little kid. It was totally hilarious. Um yeah. So the other is Miami, South Florida. Miami, that's probably gonna be a close game because if the Bulls can actually like hang with what they did with Alabama, that's gonna be a pretty close game. They got a good quarterback that can actually toss up the ball. He can rush up the ball. But the only thing is Cam Ward is the leading statistic leader right now in most all FBS categories right now. He has like 11 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards passing already. So I mean, Cam Ward is the if you actually go and look at the statistics already, I mean, he's top 5 in everything right now. Well, not top 5, but average, I think he's 2nd, like, passing yards, like 300 and some odd for average passing yards, so he's up there in all most categories, which is crazy. You would think, like, Dak would be up there, but the only guy that actually is beating him in yards per, game is actually, the kid from Mississippi or not Mississippi, Ole Miss.
Jackson Dart.
Yeah, yeah, Dart, yeah, he's, like, averaging, like, 390 a game, so I'm like, "Holy shit, dude."
They hung, I mean, USF, they hung with Alabama for 3 quarters. Now we know what happened in the 4th quarter. I mean, they got it was 42-16. I mean, Alabama had like 4 touchdowns in the 4th quarter, but
Yep.
still, like for 3 quarters, I mean, they went toe to toe with Alabama. And I mean, some might argue, you know, obviously I'm a Cam Ward homer. I have the guy winning the Heisman. Yeah, I said it. I got him winning the Heisman, being a 1st round pick. That's my boy, and all the weapons Miami has this year. I think Miami's lethal. I mean, number 8 is perfect for them because right now not as strong as of wins as Tennessee or Georgia or teams like that, but Miami's hanging right in there. I think they'll handle USF, but I respect USF for taking some of these games. I mean, they're an AAC team. I mean, they didn't need to play out of conference games against Alabama and Miami, but I respect the hell out of them. Kind of like Boise. Boise's always willing to play anybody. Well, USF's always willing to play anybody anytime. And so I respect that. I think they're going to lose, but I respect them stepping up to the big boys.
Yeah, for sure. And last, gonna be another good game is Tennessee and Oklahoma. That's gonna be a great game. Can the Sooners stop
Nico? I think they will. I think this is going to be an upset special. I think Tennessee. Yeah, I think Tennessee goes down for the first time here.
Oh, snap! I don't know. Tennessee's got a better offense than Oklahoma. That's just me though. But I mean, I'm because I got quite a few shares of of the quarterback and the running back as well. I think it's Sampson.
Dylan Sampson's electric.
Yeah, so I mean, the only way they're going to do that is if they actually stop the run game. That's the only way that Oklahoma is actually going to win this game. If they can't stop him, they're not going to have a chance to.
That's why I'm calling it an upset. I think Tennessee's a better team. I think Tennessee still has a chance at the playoffs, even if they lose this game. I just think it's a trap game. And I think OU shows up, and I think they win by a field goal. I think it's gonna Saturday night. If you got nothing going on, OU Tennessee it needs to be on your TV. And we put all on the bottom scroll there. Whenever you guys come across this stuff, whether it's tonight, tomorrow, Friday, whenever, we have all the game. We have the 4 major games. Jay's got a different game than I have for USF Miami. I have a different one in there, but. The Illinois-Nebraska game, that'll be Friday night. But we put that the team is favored, like USC is favored over Michigan. Tennessee obviously favored over Oklahoma. Utah is a slight favorite over Oklahoma State. So it's a lot of. I think it's going to be a very, very good weekend of college football.
Yeah, they have that Oklahoma game at 57.5.
Yep. Tennessee 7-point favorite. I think it's going to be. I think it's gonna be a damn good game. I really do. I don't see Tennessee rolling them. I don't see like a 51-20 kind of game. I think it's gonna be close. Maybe like 28-24, something like that.
Yeah, just looking at all the offensive categories, Oklahoma or the Volts actually got them in pretty all the categories. I mean, it's passing yards per game, 300 yards per passing. 666 passing yards per game. That's not that great, but it's the Sooners, whatever.
Yeah. It's a cent. It's logically, statistically, obviously everything favors Tennessee. They're a favorite as they should be on the road. But I have this suspicion that OU is going to come in there and it's going to be a dogfight into the fourth quarter.
Danny's
back.
Danny agrees. He agrees with me.
I don't know. Like, how far can you go with a true freshman quarterback?
Well, I mean, that is true.
When does he slip up, Jay?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess that's gonna be the thing, though. I mean, with the talent that Tennessee does have, I mean,
they're loaded.
Yeah, they're loaded. Don't see that. That's the difference. See, that's the other thing too is. When you think about a lot of these college teams, a lot of these like Tennessee, they're kind of a pro-ready team. Oklahoma's like a pro-ready team, so they're coming into a ready, well-rounded team that's already got good foundation to them. Unlike a team like maybe say like South Florida or a smaller team where where a true freshman could come in and succeed. So that's the thing. I mean, look at what Dylan's doing in Nebraska. So I mean, the other is Michigan. Look at what guy's going to do in Michigan. The other one is actually the kid that's Arch Manning is a guy I might talk about a little bit later. And the kid from the Gators. He came in and showboated it. So it's just and their programs, the Gators are not even that good. But he comes out, he's like, "Hey, man, I'd rather have the opportunity to actually play." Does he give them the opportunity to be a bit, for that team to be better?
Well, yeah, anything's better than Graham Mertz. I'll tell you that right now. I mean, if it's time to, do you have any other thoughts on this? And then I'll get into Florida. I'll get into Florida a smidge, and then Florida State even more than that. Speaking of Graham Mertz and that shit show down in Florida. Ick. It's the debut of the blacklist. We're almost gonna need like a theme song.
Yeah.
Not LA Night, but dun dun dun.
No,
Like a I feel dirty. I need a trench coat and a towel dealing with fucking. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, we know what's gonna happen. Florida shit the bed again last week. They're 1-2. We know Billy Napier gets fired.
Here we go. I got a theme song for this.
Oh, excuse the rock 1 second. Excuse the rock. His cell phone's going off. Oh yeah. Hold on. Kyle, hello. Hey, it's nothing. He says he knows you. You're nothing.
Yeah. I bet Florida State fans and the program, I'm not sure what they paid him, but we know it was a couple million, to get DJU from Oregon State out here.
The funny thing was, actually, I was thinking about actually pulling out my Florida State hat just to,
Control my brother. My brother who lives in Florida, he, FSU alum, he's a Florida State graduate. He loves that program, loves that team. He can't even show his face right now. I mean, it's disgusting. We're talking about Mike Norvell being like, extended or like coach of the year and stuff, after last year. I mean, before Jordan Travis got hurt, this team was going to make the fucking 4-team playoffs. I mean, they were set. And then, obviously DJU sits out that, bowl game against Georgia. They got shellacked 63-3. I mean, they weren't even trying, which I don't blame them. But I mean, ever since Jordan Travis went down, I mean, it's like this program just eviscerated. And Jordan Travis ain't even that good. I mean, is he ever going to see the field for the Jets? I mean, come on now. But anyway, so this was the replacement, and I don't blame him. I mean, maybe they should have went after Will Howard from Kansas State, ended up going to Ohio State. Riley Leonard, he's questionable. We know the guy's not accurate. He's probably a better athlete than DJU, but Riley Leonard ended up going to Notre Dame. So there was a couple big transfers. Like, obviously Cam Ward. I don't know why the hell they didn't offer. They didn't back the Brinks truck up for Cam Ward instead of going to Miami. Ends up from Washington State, and the guy's probably going to win the Heisman. This shit show. Basically the guidelines for the blacklist. You have 3 bad games in a row, and these are epically bad games. I mean, the program, the quarterback, maybe the head coach. I mean, this is the kind of start to a season that gets people fired. Let's just put it that way. If you make this isn't going to be an every week thing. I mean, it's rare to find 3 bad games in a row, especially from a guy that was considered not an upper echelon quarterback, but at one time he was an NFL prospect. I mean, this guy was going to be drafted. He was going to be, maybe a mid-late round guy. Nobody's touching him with a 10-foot pole now. Guy's accuracy, it's a joke. It's a damn 56% completion in college. Like they just benched Bryce Young from the Panthers for a 50, because his career so far, 18 games is 59%, for the NFL. When you're throwing against, imagine him. He's been playing like Memphis. No offense to Memphis, but like Memphis, Georgia Tech, Boston College. I mean, this isn't exactly Georgia, Alabama, Texas. I mean, these aren't elite programs with elite corners, elite pass rushers. Come on now. But anyway, so far this year, 3 games, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Check out this stat line: 23 carries, -14 rushing yards. That is pathetic.
Oh.
Absolutely pathetic. And like I said, you can't blame them. They didn't have a young freshman phenom. They didn't have a guy in waiting like USC. They had Miller Moss, waiting after Caleb. So, they were going to be okay. So they had to go get a transfer guy. And, Oregon State last year, the guy went 8-4, had over 2,600 yards, 27 touchdowns, 7 picks, 6 rushing touchdowns. I mean, he would have been a guy you would have went after. Not quite Cam Ward numbers, but I mean, he was a nice consolation. If you didn't get Cam Ward, he was a nice consolation prize to get you through a year. Like maybe Florida State was, and they were going to take a step back. I mean, they weren't going to be, just about an undefeated team, heading into the playoff, and after Jordan Travis, after the quarterback went down. I mean, they weren't going to have that kind of season again. They lost Verse, the stud pass rusher, so they lost some players last year. And we thought maybe like 8-9 wins, probably more towards 9, like a 9-3 kind of season, put them right in contention with Clemson, maybe Miami if Miami slipped. Nope, they'll be lucky to win 6. This team is awful. This quarterback is awful. He's too inaccurate. He's not that good of an athlete. The guy's got negative 14 rushing yards in 3 games, so he's not getting anything on the ground anymore. At least he had 6 rushing touchdowns last year. He is the ultimate blacklist guy. You have any thoughts on this clown?
Quite honestly, I was loving, DJ. I was, because I watched a lot of.
Too.
Yeah, I did.
Very good.
Yeah, he actually looked like he can actually toss the fucking ball, do a little running, run the offense like they should have, and then all of a sudden,
Jay, 2 years ago at Clemson, he put up similar stats, like 22 touchdowns, and so he wasn't like blowing anybody away, but he was a solid to really, really good, solid quarterback. Like he was a good starting college quarterback.
And honestly, I don't even know what happened to him going to Florida. I thought maybe him going to Florida would maybe be actually rise his stock a little bit. Nope,
I didn't know Trey Benson meant that much. I didn't know. I didn't know Keon Coleman meant that much. Yeah, I didn't know Keon Coleman meant that much.
Yeah, it's sad because I actually liked his talent, but with the way he's actually playing right now, I'm like, dude, this guy looks like total trash. I'm like, there's no way he's gonna be a starting quarterback in the NFL looking like this. No, not even close. And that even shows that Shedeur Sanders is gonna look 10 times better than this guy.
Oh, we start going down the list. I mean, I'd rather have Alan Bowman, who's old as dirt. Alan Bowman's probably what, 24, 25 years old.
I think he's like 26.
Yeah,
I think they're like 26, 27. Yeah.
I remember Brandon Weeden, that old Cowboys quarterback they got from Oklahoma State. Oklahoma State likes their old quarterbacks, but I'm just saying, I'd rather have Alan Bowman than DJU. It just what a fall. What a damn fall.
Give me Cam Rising that's hurt over this guy. Come on.
I'd bench him. I mean, it doesn't happen very much to high name, transfer guys. Usually these guys are going to be like, they end up like Cam Ward. They end up having, or Will Howard. They end up having really productive seasons. I mean, this guy is just
send him to the waiver wire. That's it. Just boot him down.
Send him to the waiver wire. Yeah, you're playing fan tracks and you see DJU on the waiver wire. You know why now. But I had to do my rant.
Where's the block list at? Because we can't click on him. Don't make it clickable.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go. I'm gonna block caller right there.
There you go. Oh,
it's funny shit.
Yeah, it is.
What should we get into next? Yeah, and if you guys haven't done it yet, we're at the midway point. We're at the 29-minute mark so far. If you're tuning in or you tune into this later, like and subscribe. It helps us. These damn YouTube algorithms. You help the cause by and spread the good word. If you like us, like what we're doing. Yeah, Jay's multitasking again. He's got that up there again. You like what we're doing? Help out the cause. And we're having fun with this so far. Couple college streams in, I'm really enjoying this. I think it's been a good fit so far, and it's fun for us too. It's different. It's different than NFL. We're always climbing up the hill. We love NFL. We love covering NFL, but we're like we always mention, we were always climbing up the hill because there's so much. It's very oversaturated. So this was fun. I get to talk smack about DJU. What's not fun about this? We do this every week. This is outstanding. You know what? We're going to get into You know what, Jay? We're gonna get into some waivers here. That's what we're gonna do because DJU is he's gonna be on the waiver list probably after the next few weeks. So be on the lookout for him. So Fantrax. You know what? We have a squad blitz mentioned tonight as well. Squad blitz. Jay will mention it when. Yeah, Jay will mention it when we bring up the graphic, but Squad Blitz is another place. That's a little bit different concept. You know, you choose teams over players, you know, for passing, rushing, defense. But this is just the traditional waiver players. Kind of like you'd see if you follow our NFL stuff. It's very similar to, you know, going and picking up David Carr or, you know, a guy like that.
Pretty much.
So, you know, Fantrax is the app. And Fantrax is great, and we're not sponsored by them. We're not cheap, you know. There's no cheap plug here. We use it for fantasy football, NFL. Use it for NASCAR. Use it for college football. Bunch of good stuff is over on Fantrax. If you haven't done yet, download the app and all that good jazz. You know what? We're gonna get into some pickups here.
Yes. Pickups.
Some pickups here. Ooh, Josh Hoover. He reminds me of a Hoover vacuum because he just keeps sucking up all the yards. He's having look at this. Look at this. This guy's got 8 touchdowns, no picks, over 1,000 yards, completing almost 70% of his passes. And nobody's heard of him because TCU. I mean, we would acknowledge ever since the national championship game a couple years ago, their program's been down compared to where they were. So. He's kind of going under the radar.
Yeah, he's the third highest. He's the third quarterback in the nation with 1,000 yards already. Below Jackson Dart and Cam Ward.
Cam Ward, he's right in the mix, and those are like, you know, early to mid round. I mean, at latest, Jackson Dart is what second round quarter. I mean, these are high end quarterbacks are going to be drafted high. And he's right below him. I mean, he's third in passing in the nation. So that's no joke. He's only 50% rostered, so you're going to be able to get him in any size league, no matter what. You know, we do a couple different ones on Fantrax, Dynasty. We do a best ball. So
hopefully Hoover doesn't turn out like the guy that got cut by the Rams.
or was it Charger? Was it Max Duggan?
Yeah. Chargers. Yeah, Chargers. I thought it was the Rams.
He might end up being a system guy. It might just be a TCU system thing because Duggan was a 7th round pick. Got, you know, obviously was just a backup the last few years. Got cut, but we remember him in 2022. Duggan was electric, and TCU made a run at the Natty. Just, you know, obviously we saw what happened. Georgia pretty much killed the program. Georgia set like 10 years at that beat down. But Josh Hoover, 50% rostered. Jay was mentioning some of his credentials too. I'd go and snag. If you need a backup quarterback, I'd go snag him up. The next man. Ooh, what do we got here? Ooh. You know what? Because I just picked him up. Today. Because I was able to find him. Magdalena.
Sweet Jesus.
You actually picking up somebody?
Hey, Macarena, not the Macarena. Magdalena. Only 64% rostered. What's he doing over at Fresno State? Well, he's got 15 receptions so far, almost 400 yards, 3 touchdowns, and nobody's heard of him. That's the perfect recipe. Those are guys that I like. He got kind of had a down week last week against New Mexico State, only had 3 targets. But Michigan week 1, I was very impressed. Again, you know, didn't blow anything up with yards, but he was targeted 8 times, 6 catches, 67 yards, which you know, it's nice productivity. Especially, I'm not saying you can start the guy, but for a bye week, because bye weeks have been coming up for a lot of teams. For a bye week, he's worth throwing in there. Yes, let's see, 235 yards against Sacramento State, obviously FCS team. I mean, so we know if it's lesser competition, this guy can excel as well. I mean, he can tear it up. So it was nice to see that at least against a Power 5 program, especially a better team like Michigan, he can put up a few stats. Nice to see that, you know, he can basically take an FCS team to the house, you know, 235 yards. You ever come across this guy or thought about picking him up?
I'm sure I have because I look, cause I'm
Hey,
always looking.
Magdalena.
I'm always kind of looking at the waiver wire. I'm kind of looking at stats and seeing like what kids are succeeding or excelling in some of these smaller
Sex selling.
in these smaller conferences and stuff like that. So I'm always kind of looking around and kind of diving into like some target shares and kind of see who's the wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, so things like that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I have come across him, but I was just like, yeah, I just seen that there was, guys like Caleb Johnson and, couple other guys, like a Sanders from, the Gamecocks, so I mean, just some different thoughts there. But I think I have a share of him somewhere, I think, in one of my teams. Don't quote me on that, but I do. I know I have a Fresno State guy somewhere on my team. I just know what I don't know which league it is.
Fresno State, like I said, another whack team.
How many yards?
They got some players. Every now and again you'll come across a guy like, oh, Fresno State. That surprises you. They end up being like a late round draft pick or something. I mean, I'm not saying that about Delana, but I've been impressed. I'll just put it that way.
How many rushing yards does he?
Jay, they got the toughest game out of the schedule, out of the way. So I mean, it's clear sailing for this guy to have a couple weeks where he's over 100 yards for sure. So I would get your hands on him early while he's still available. Stash him on the bench.
I was trying to see how many yards he had because he's not even in like the top 50 for rushing yards. So I was just kind of curious how many rushing yards he had. But
receiving.
Oh, yeah.
That
was actually I thought he was a rush. Sorry, that was
Hey, Magdalena.
Where's that? Dun, 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 dun.
the dunce cap.
Yeah,
maybe you should put on the Florida State hat.
I thought he was a running back.
3-9, baby.
Yeah, I was looking at the wrong one, so I thought, oh wait, I was looking at the wrong thing here. So I was like, oh okay.
Oh, you're fine. So we got.
Oh yeah, so he's actually he's actually 5th in the country right now for receiving. Yeah. Damn, dude.
And who's leading the nation?
Nick Nash.
San Jose State. We talked him up. Didn't we talk him up the first couple weeks?
Yeah, the first couple weeks. Yeah, so if you didn't get out there and actually had Nick Nash, you're probably like crying right now because he's one of the top wide receivers out there right now.
Triple Nick Nash, Triple Crown. If you had listened to us week 1, week 2, we know we weren't doing the college stream week 1, but we did a small reference on some college guys. We kind of worked it in with our NFL stuff. We had Nick Nash having a monster year. I had him over 1,000 yards. He's going to blow 1,000 yards out of the water. He is the Triple Crown leader right now for receivers, receptions, yards, touchdowns. Number 1 in the nation in all 3. Nick Nash. I mean, get to know that name. We called that puppy early. I might even have him in my players for watch for week 4 and week 5 and week 6 and week 7. So get that out of the way. Number 3.
Here's your Oakleys.
Oh, thank you. I need them. Kyle McCord from Syracuse. This is this boy here. Now, he left Ohio State. Actually had a good year last year. Like given the, obviously they think they can do better with Will Howard, which is why, he ended up transferring. But, he had 24 touchdowns last year, almost 3,200 yards passing, completed about 66% of his throws. So, I mean, he was solid at Ohio State last year. And for Syracuse, it's an upgrade. I mean, they got to just be loving this, to basically to take a step down to a program like this. It'd be like if Carson Beck took a step down and played at like Baylor or something. They would be ecstatic to have a guy like that. So I think McCord so far 7 touchdowns. I can have that. I'm sorry, 8 touchdowns. Has over 700 yards passing. Only 1 interception. I thought he had a little bit. Yeah, and his sack number. He was sacked a bunch last year. But, I mean, the sack numbers are down so far. Only been sacked twice. So, I don't know. Any thoughts on McCord? I know we've kind of mentioned him before.
Yeah, I know.
he was in that mix of all the and that's why I go back to like Florida State. It's like there were options at quarterback other than DJU. I mean, you could have got Kyle McCord, you could have got Cam Ward.
Yeah,
There were guys
you
out
totally.
there to try to pull in.
Right now, I mean, Kyle McCord is here's the crazy funny thing is I actually picked up McCord for one of my guys that actually is on bye. So I'm actually playing McCord in one of my starting positions right now. Just the fact that I know just because he's actually passing over 340 some odd yards on an average. So I'm like, and it's just showing that too. I mean, right now he's only 31st in actually passing yards, which is not bad, but overall like yards per game, dude, he's top 2. I mean, he's behind Jackson Dart, 367 yards per game, dude. That's fucking great. Jackson Dart 390 yards. I mean, it's showing that these guys are actually pass heavy.
Yeah.
Cam Ward 345 yards. So I mean, it goes to show, that I thought Syracuse was going to be a joke. I thought he was going to go there and actually fall like right on his face. But actually, I was watching. It was like an SCE or whatever, one of those. They were actually doing something on Syracuse. I'm like, ooh, well, this is kind of interesting. I'm going to kind of check this out a little bit. And McCord actually came in he came in, wanted to be like, all right, let's go, let's get ready, let's go. I mean, he came in straight in, started being a leader right away. So I mean, McCord, not a bad option. If I'm taking him and starting him this week, hey,
we got a bunch of Syracuse guys. I think in our DFS, Gadsden, the stud monster. He's gonna have another big game. Tight end, wide receiver, hybrid guy. Gadsden's a beast. So I mean, McCord's got a few weapons to work with. Only played 2 games too. I didn't mention that. Jay was mentioning that. Eight touchdowns and like a bajillion yards in 2 games. So once he gets caught up, he's gonna be right there with Jackson Dart, Cam Ward, Hoover from TCU. He'd be right in that mix for top 5 passing yard leaders for FBS. So 65% owned. He's on the rise. So I this would probably be the last week you can get him. I think he's going to have another good game coming up on Friday. So be on the lookout for that. Parrish, Henry Parrish Jr. Another guy on the rise. Ole Miss it just doesn't stop. That Trey Harris, the receiver, just weapons galore. And this guy's having and there's running backs all the time like this. We talk. I mean, how much did we talk about Cody Schrader? Guys that just kind of beginning of the year, there's not a lot of hype, so all of a sudden by the end of the year, Isaiah Davis from South Dakota State just started rising. Now he's getting touches in the NFL. Parrish Jr. maybe going from undrafted free agent to maybe late round pick, this season, already up, averaging almost 8 yards a carry, 338 yards, 6 rushing touchdowns. I'd like the receiving to go up a little bit. He's only got 6 receptions, 49 yards, but I mean, Jackson Dart, he's not targeting him. He's going down the field to the 2 studs, but Parrish Jr., have you come across him at all?
I'm sure I've seen some of his stats and stuff like that for, being, yeah, I mean,
but I mean, like
dude, that's insane, dude. Holy crap.
He's a transfer from Miami. So he was at Miami so he started at Ole Miss. Give a little background on this guy. So he started at Ole Miss. He was kind of a complimentary back his first couple years. He's actually a 5th-year guy. So I mean, now or never to come. Yeah, if he's gonna make a last-second dash for the NFL. I mean, this is the team to do it on. I had it called before the year that Ole Miss is gonna be a playoff team. I mean, this team is filthy good, especially on offense. If you're ever gonna get noticed, it's gonna be on this team. But complimentary back first 2 years. He was with Miami
for sure.
The last 2 had. And last year wasn't bad. 625 yards, averaged over 6 yards a carry, 6 rushing touchdowns. Didn't do much as a receiver, which is, for NFL terms, I mean, we'd have to like dig into him deeper for a spotlight or something to really know about that. But he only had 11 catches last year. So, I mean, in college, that's fine. But obviously at the next level, if it was to continue that way. But for fantasy ownership, if he's still there, it's gonna be hard to get him. 75% rostered, so it's gonna be hard to get your hands on him. But if he is there, he's worth the pickup. I would take just about anybody, even their damn tight end at this point. I would take anybody on this Ole Miss offense. I mean, this is fucking legendary stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, they can go
Harris
toe to toe
seems-
with anybody in the country.
Parrish seems like more your cowbell. He it's kind of stay in block and he'll rack, pretty much protect the quarterback kind of thing from what I'm looking at. He's pretty much one of those guys. He doesn't really do anything in the pass game. He's more your traditional, ground and pound.
I just like to see, because he did have 21 catch his second year at Ole Miss, which would have been 2021. Yeah, he had 21 catches. So he is capable of catching a few passes, but you might be right on that. But that's a different offense. They didn't have Jackson Dart his first go around with Ole Miss. They didn't have Trey Harris and a lot of these guys. So I think he's worth kicking the tires on, especially as a backup. I think he's a perfect maybe fill-in running back or a guy on your bench, probably deeper on the bench. But and then you know what? Because we showed love to defense last week. We talked about Tennessee. Tennessee showed up as they always do. I put Indiana's defense has been filthy. They really have. I mean, they've been shutting everybody down. I think they're only giving up like 10 points a game, and the yards. I mean, they're right up there. I looked at defensive statistics. I mean, the Gophers are up there too, and some of the other heavy hitter programs. But I mean, Indiana's up there in the top 5 or 6 in almost every category. So I mean, Indiana's got a really good defense. They're only 54% rostered. So if you need like we've mentioned before, if you need a 1 week fill-in defense, I mean, I trust going with them. They're not facing a lethal Big Ten team. I mean, they're not facing an Ohio State. They're not playing a USC's offense. They're not playing Oregon's offense. So, I mean, it's worth kicking the tires on. I don't know. What are your thoughts on Indiana's defense?
I mean, I guess you want to look at it is, are they getting any takeaways? Are they stopping the run? Are they actually getting some sacks and stuff like that? So that's the way, I guess that's what I would look at. And the matchup, really. If they have a good matchup for that week, yeah, start them. That's the way I'm kind of looking at it now is, which defenses are playing, a lesser team that might be able to rack you up some points. I mean, that's the way I'm kind of looking at it now is, what can they bring to the table? Can they get you 5 sacks? Can they get you a special team, touchdown, So, I mean, little things like that, I think I'm kind of looking at it towards that way.
They're okay. I'll just for reference point, because we think of Indiana, we don't think of power football. I mean, we think of like a lower end Big Ten team, right? They're averaging, and they did beat UCLA. They've had 2 kind of cupcakes, but they did beat UCLA on the road. So they've only been giving up like 8 points a game.
Dude, that's actually really good.
They have 12 sacks in 3 games, so that's average 4 sacks a game.
Ooh, shit.
A defensive touchdown, they have 1. Takeaway, 6. Yeah, so 6 takeaways. 6 takeaways, 12 sacks, 1 defensive touchdown, only giving up, just under 8 points a game in 3 games. Yeah, this Indiana at 54% roster, it's like people are asleep at the wheel. Like, how are they available? I picked them up. I'm going to start them. I usually don't keep 2 defenses. That's a cardinal thing me and Jay don't do. We usually don't keep 2 defenses. And because I had Oregon's defense. Usually Oregon's pretty reliable, but I'm going with Indiana this week, and they have a favorable matchup. So, I mean, why the hell not? I would go out, if they're available in any league or any DFS stuff. I would Indiana's defense. I would highly recommend this week. They're one of the best, if not the best, in the country.
That's
I don't know how the hell they're available. Only 54% roster.
Yeah, that is crazy. No, I mean, these are all. I mean, I picked up McCord myself. I'm actually going to play McCord here this week. They're playing Friday night, so I'm hoping he has a good turnout. I can't remember who they're playing, but I think it's a smaller, challenging team. I can't remember offhand, but
well, you know what? Let's take a look. Let's take a look who they
I know
might
it's
be.
Friday.
Well, let's take a look. I happen to have Friday's DraftKings right here, and would you look at that? Would you look at that? We got 2 Syracuse guys. We have two Syracuse guys, a couple Nebraska guys here, and actually some Stanford love. Actually, some Stanford love, and you know what? You know what? We're gonna start with Ashton Daniels. Okay, because he doesn't get a lot of love. Most people, when they think of Daniels, they think of Jaden Daniels. Last year LSU Heisman winner. Maybe they think of Jalen Daniels from KU. He's I don't know. KU's kind of been off to a slow start. We'll give some love to Ashton Daniels. Maybe he's one of their long lost cousins. I don't know, but 1.5 touchdowns. He's been teetering. He's had like a 1 touchdown game and a 2 touchdown game. So that's, they're kind of hedging their bets, so it's kind of a split right down the middle. He is averaging about 1.5 touchdowns a game. I'm going to take the under. I don't think Stanford is going to do much of anything. So Syracuse, Stanford. I mean, that's enough said. Syracuse gonna put the lights out early on him. I think he's under a touchdown and a half passing. I'll do all 5, and if you want to put yours up, or if you have any thoughts on this, Jay also made a list today, so you're getting you're getting the bonus.
Yeah.
Rondé Gadsden, the stud tight end from Syracuse. I don't know how he isn't rising up draft boards. I mean, at one time he was a receiver, so he's a hybrid. I mean, and this guy, I think when he gets to the NFL, he's gonna be a monster. Gadsden, 74.5 receiving yards. I'm going to take the over on that because he's been over, both games this year. I think that's going to continue because look who's throwing him the ball. Number 3, Kyle McCord at 292.5 yards. I'm also taking the over on that. He's been playing out of his mind. Was he averaging like 350 yards a game? Probably over that.
Over that. Yeah,
and
he's like they're going to 365 or something like that.
Yeah, 365. They're going to give the business to Stanford Friday night, so he's going to go over 300 yards again. Mark that down. So you got 2 overs, 1 under so far. Dylan Raiola, I think he showed. This is his first. They've had Colorado was kind of a primetime game if you think about it. I mean, no pun intended. I mean, primetime, was the coach on the other side, but this is kind of the first ranked primetime game. That people are going to be paying attention to Friday night. There's some other, a couple other games going on. I think it's 3 in total, but it's almost like a standalone game. I mean, if you're at a bar, you're hanging out at home, you're watching Fox, you got Nebraska and Illinois on. So you're watching this game, you're watching what this kid's going to do. I think he's going to have a touchdown and a half. I think he goes over because he's had 2 games of 2 touchdowns. So I think it's very possible that he adds a third here. So 2 touchdowns for Dylan Raiola. I think Nebraska wins. Honestly, I think they go to 4-0. I don't think it's an upset because I think they're a little bit better in Illinois. And my Dowdle, running back, I've used him a couple times. I said he was a player to watch, and he's solid. He's been all 3 games. He's been over at least 50 yards rushing. The DraftKings pick 6 is at 50.5. I'm taking the over again. I'm not saying how much over. I mean, it might just be 60 yards, but hey, hell, that's 60 yards. He's not putting up. He's not putting up Ashton Genty numbers or Ollie Gordon, any of that, any of these crazy stats or anything. But I think he can get if he can get you 60 yards rushing, you win. I mean, that's boom right there. There's 5 of your 6. You're gonna win some money. So let's do that, and then it's on you to pick the last one. Let's do 6 of 6, and let's win you some money. Jay, do you have any thoughts on these 5 guys?
Ooh, no, actually, I like it. I like McCord, him going over. I like Arola or Ravi. We'll call him
Ravioli. Yeah, baby Mahomes or Ravioli.
Yeah. I think because Dylan, I think he's kind of borderline. He can put up a couple touchdowns here and there, so that could be over. Daniels, I can see that probably going down because Stanford might lose their offense.
They will lose.
Their offense has kind of been struggling, so I can kind of see that. And the Gatson, they're pretty much their main target. So McCord's been targeting him quite a bit, so I could probably see him going over that, or him in a touchdown, either one of those, because he's had 3 touchdowns already. Dowell, that's probably skimming it. I'm like, but it's not a bad option at all either.
Yeah, he was kind of the last. I mean, there was a couple other options. I just, because Friday night you got 3 games to pick from, so it's you don't have a full slate of games. And Dowdle's been reliable. He's been all 3 games over 50, and I think it continues. But yeah. Oh, look, Jay's got one too. Look at this. I love it.
Oh, yep, I forgot about that. Yeah, yeah, the prop on McCord is 293 passing. I think he does that. I think he goes over that because he's been averaging over 300 some odd yards a game. So I mean, him playing Stanford, yeah, I can see it.
Jay, he went up a yard from. I made this graphic yesterday, and it went up a point. So I mean, even the guys in Vegas know that this guy's going to have over 300 yards. Absolutely.
Yeah, I kind of did this morning. I was working on this morning a little bit, so I'm like, yeah, all right.
He might be up to 295 by Friday.
Probably. I might have to go less with that one. Yeah, I got Dylan. I mean, he's been pretty close to averaging a little bit over 200 some odd yards, so I could see him actually, especially if they actually have to throw in the run game's not going anywhere. I could see him actually.
I think they will. You got to remember they played some cream puffs, so they've. I mean, a lot of the times in the fourth quarter he wasn't playing, or he was just he was hanging out on the bench because they were up by so much. Yeah. I think this is going to be a closer game where he has to play all 4 quarters. So I think I could see 250 from him.
Yeah, and I think that would go over. And then our favorite guy, I think Alec. I think he he hasn't really been averaging a whole lot, so I think that might be could be a less for me there. I don't think he's going to average over 60 yards a game. It's been very less than 60 yards a game. So I think even though he's their main target, he really hasn't really shown out for anything for us. He's kind of our favorite guy. We kind of watched last year a little bit. He had a nice catch over at Colorado. But he hasn't really done a whole lot this year, so I'm kind of just a little disappointed a little bit.
It's a crux with him because I could see him getting like 47 yards in the touchdown. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So if Daniels having 1 touchdown, which I predicted, I think Alec could definitely be the one to get it. But yeah, I think going under 59.5 is a safe bet.
Yeah, and then we got the Washington game, which is the last slate on the Friday night's game, and they're playing San Diego or San Jose or whatever. That's going to be a great game because we got we got Nash, the high flying Diego, and we got Washington, God, the Cougars. So it's just like, ooh, I mean, John Benier, I don't think he's going to go over 255-yard passing because he's been more of their offense. He's been just running up the ball. He's just taken off and start running. So I have a feeling he's going to be under that, and I think he might be the guy who may have more rushing yards than anything.
This one I will disagree with you on because I think Washington State's going to have to chuck it. I think to keep up with Nick Nash and the boys, I mean, it's going to be an aerial assault. I mean, if you want to watch some good West Coast football Friday night, this is your game. I can see Mateer doing 280 or even close to 300. So that one I will disagree on. I think it's going to be an aerial assault there.
I find your lack of faith disturbing.
And then I got
R.I.P. Darth Vader, Jay. James Earl Jones. Well, I don't even know his fucking name. I know him from If You Build It, Ray, They Will Come.
Yes.
All but yeah, R.I.P. to him, Darth Vader.
Yes, that's sad. It is. And then I thought, and then I was like, well, I'm like, if you want to go the Dylan 1.5 more touchdowns, I think that's very, just in case they actually have to do throw and the run game is, not really there. I was actually looking it up here real quick.
It is James Earl Jones. Sorry.
Yep.
Keep going.
So, Illinois is 32nd against the pass and 63rd against the rush. So it could go teeter-totter either way. I mean, they could either ground and pound or they can end up just throwing the ball. So I think there's a good opportunity that Dylan could actually get 2 touchdowns in this game.
I think he's a dude. I think he's built for prime time. I think he's built for the spotlight. He's going to have, I'd say 250 yards and 2 touchdowns, and I think Nebraska's going to win. So
yeah.
If you want 2 guaranteed of your pick 6, 2 of the 6 covered, listen to us. Dylan Raiola, do both of those for him.
Yeah. All right.
Oh,
since you bypassed me, man, I want to make mine.
You gotta speed around me. You gotta speed around me on the highway.
Right.
I cut you off. You got to flip me the perfect.
Yeah, just real quick. I'm gonna give you my quick waivers. Devontae Ross, who had a stout game against freaking Iowa here this last weekend. I was like, what? I was blown away, shocked, and I mean, this guy's he's only like he's a senior this year too, so maybe he's making a name for himself to actually maybe make the NFL draft. It's hard saying. Maybe the senior, the Senior Bowl.
Troy, I will mention Troy's quarterback Goose Crowder is out this week though, so that might affect Ross. If you are picking up Ross, that might affect him a little bit. So just beware. I mean, we know what kind of a monster week he had last week, but just as a reference, that's why we put some of the injuries on the bottom. And a lot of these guys are kind of role players or not big names or anything, but just keep an eye out if you're watching the stream on the bottom ticker there. So that might affect Ross, but he overall he's a good pickup. I like.
Yeah. He's had a back-to-back 100-yard game. So I mean, smaller school. I mean, racking up numbers. I mean, shit. Like I think he's doing like 30 some odd points a game. So somewhere in there, he's getting some touchdowns in there. So I mean, it's not to me. I guess it wasn't a bad option. I'm like, I actually went out and actually picked him up in a league or two. So yeah, he was my first one, and then Kendinium Benjamin from Tulsa. I was actually watching that game a little bit. I mean, he's the number one. He's their wide receiver one. 66% rostered, 51% started. Yeah, he had 6 for 94 against OK State. I mean, it was a little bit down, but I mean, he was pretty much their main target. He hadn't had a touchdown in this last game or so, but he had 2 touchdowns the previous weeks. So I mean, 19% target share. Hell, I'm down for it, and they're playing Louisiana Tech this upcoming week, so I think this will be a rebound game for him to actually go double digits and a touchdown. So
I think so too. Louisiana Tech's defense is terrible.
And yeah, my third here is actually Jalen Noel. I mean, I know some people
available. How the hell is he still available?
So I'm kind of okay. So here's the trends that I'm kind of seeing. So even though some of these guys are high rostered, people are dropping them. People are dropping, especially if they're on a buy and the limited rostered.
not this guy, because we know he knows his stuff. Come here. You drop Jalen Noel, you're dumb.
So those are the things I can kind of see, like the trends that I'm kind of seeing. Even though some of these guys are like high profile guys, the roster percentages are high. Some of these guys are actually getting dumped to the waiver wire to pick up, somebody else, maybe, so these are the trends that I'm seeing right now. So, I mean, a guy like Noel and Higgins, they're out there on waiver wire. Both these guys are actually, 19%, target share between the two of them. I mean, he's looking at both these. So both these guys are great. So I would be going out picking him up. They play Arkansas State. Week 1, he had 8 targets. Week 2, he had 9 targets. So, I mean, he's seeing the targets a little bit more than Higgins. So he's the guy I would be looking at. If he's out there, go snag him up. But yeah, 21% target share. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. And Archie Manning, go out, pick him up. 1 week wonder. Go use him. Dump him to the waiver wire. If you need the points, hey, why not? I mean, he had 9 for 12 for 233 yards passing, 4 touchdowns. He had a rush yard too. So playing ULM, go pick him up for 1 week. It'd be fun.
If you're playing Dynasty and somehow Arch Manning was sitting there, I mean, you hit the gold line. He's going to be their starting quarterback next year. I mean, he didn't transfer portal. He didn't go anywhere. Quinn Ewers is going to the NFL next year. And we saw how good he was, in relief there. If this was lingering, with Ewers, you don't think they wouldn't turn to Arch Manning? As good, how much are they paying him? Like $5 million NIL money or something? It was something crazy. I remember the report a couple years ago. Arch Manning, yeah. But just as a year-to-year league, I would pick him up, and regardless, because he's going to be so good if he starts with that Texas offense. He's so good. If you have a roster spot in your bench, go pick him up now.
Yep. I would have to agree. That's why I said go out, pick up Archie Manning. I mean, it was funny because
he might not play another snap again this season. Doesn't matter. His potential is through the roof. I mean, if you got spot on the bench, deeper roster, go and grab him now.
Yep. And then Marines Maheem Sanders from South Carolina. Pretty much he went 19 for 143 against LSU. Dude, that's insane. The game that they probably should have won, from what I've heard. Not a bad option. I mean, he might be out there in some leagues, not a whole lot of leagues. I mean, he's highly rostered. Yeah, that's right. Rocket Sanders. I mean, if you think about it, he was actually in Arkansas last year. He had an okay outing. And I think he wanted to prove something for this upcoming year. But they got Akron, so if he's out there, go snag him up. I mean, I think he's like 80% rostered or something like that. But I know, there, like I mentioned, there might be guys that end up just dropping some of these guys, even though they're highly rostered. So if you think about it, not a bad option for cowbell, guy like Rocket Sanders.
I don't know. Like, I was looking at his stats from 2 years ago. He had over 1,400 yards and 10 rushing touchdowns. Like, I don't know if he can get back to that point. But yeah, like Jay was saying, it's especially for on the bench. We're not saying go pick him up, start him right away. But for a cowbell like him, yeah, go stick him on the bench, pick him up.
Yeah, and then Billy Lucas, from Liberty.
Guy.
Yep, he had 21 for 104, 3 touchdowns. Hey, here's my thoughts on this. Quentin Cooley might be done for the year, and he is your next best option. So Cooley might be done for the year. I think he had a parent leg injury.
Cooley was making a case to be a dark horse, like, draft pick, like to be maybe an undrafted free agent, or to put his name in the hat to be an NFL player. And so that's sad to see Cooley. And he was a big part of that Liberty. I mean, he saved them a couple of weeks ago. I mean, they would have lost that game had he not taken over in the fourth quarter. So, yeah, Billy Lucas, if that is true with Cooley going down, Billy Lucas is definitely worth the pickup.
Yep. That's why I mentioned, I was like, ooh, it sounds like he might be done. So he is worth the pickup. And then if you need a tight end, so pretty much the other side is pretty much tight ends, kickers, and defenses. So if you're looking at a tight end, Holden Willis is the guy to kind of look at. He had 4 for 73, but they're at Duke this upcoming week, and I think this will be a good matchup for them. And they actually have been passing so 305 yards passing per game, and Holden has been getting a lot of those targets. He's actually been averaging. So pretty much this last weekend he caught all 4 targets, 4 for 73. The week 2 he had 13 targets. So I mean, they've been targeting this guy quite a bit. So I mean, this is an option. You could slap on your bench, or a guy to maybe, if you want to look at somebody else, he might be an option for you to take a look at. And then for kickers, Grady Cross, Washington, 4 for 4 this weekend. They play Northwestern this upcoming week. So I mean, if Washington can't really get anything done in the passing game, or they're struggling, he might be a guy you might want to pick up for a kicker, and he's been kicking really, really good right now.
Grady Gross has been great. 4 for 4. For my team any day of the week.
Right, and then that last but finally is go out, and if you're looking for a defense, they're playing an FCS. They're playing Youngstown. The kid that we talked about last year, McLaughlin, kid that tore up SDSU here. He came from that program, and the Pittsburgh, they play them this week. Not a bad option. Smaller FCS team.
Well, Jaleel McLaughlin ain't walking through the door for Youngstown. Yeah, it's another, and it's just for the FCS factor. Obviously, I think the Gophers and Hoosiers got better defenses overall, but for the matchup, and Pittsburgh's defense is easily, readily available. Absolutely, follow Jay's advice. Go pick them up.
Yeah, they had 2 sacks this last weekend, 2 takeaways, and a special team touchdown. So I think and they had the previous week they had like 5 sacks. So and Pittsburgh's actually 3-0, which is kind of crazy to think about it. I'm like, 3-0, Pittsburgh 3-0. What?
They haven't been talked about this much since Kenny Pickett.
well, Kenny Pickett and Bob Memes.
Well, yeah, I guess last year was Bub, but
yeah.
I wish he was popping more with the Saints, but
I know, right? I mean, well, the other thing too is
Pitt's gonna be 4-0.
Yeah, that's gonna be crazy to think about that too. I'm like, what? Well, I mean, they have the kid, that last week we talked about. If you don't have him, go out and get on Desmond Reed. He should be on your bench somewhere. I mean, he's pretty much their dual threat right now. I mean, he's rushing, catching the ball out of the backfield. So if you don't have him, you're shit out of luck. I mean, he's
Desmond Reed's been one of the bigger revelations so far of the 2024 season. Just Desmond Reed kind of came out of nowhere, but he's statistically, I mean, he's up there. I mean, fantasy points, rushing yards, running back catches. I mean, everything. I mean, the guy is just having a monster, probably top 7 or 8 fantasy years so far. So worth picking up for sure.
Yeah.
Or if he's there, obviously we Jay told you a couple weeks ago to get Reed. So if you listened, he's popping for you.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what? While we got this big graphic up, can we? Oh, is it squad blitz time? Is it squad blitz time?
Yeah.
Yeah. Jay, do you want to explain? You were nice enough to explain last week, but do you want to explain again kind of the concept of squad blitz and what these guys do, and then I'll go over my teams?
Yeah. So pretty much, it's a different way to look at playing fantasy. You pretty much like you get the whole like Duke's passing attack. You get their quarterback. You get their So I mean, any of the running backs, receiving yards out of the backfield. So you get that whole offense. Boise State. You get the whole offense of him getting the 9 touchdowns or whatever, or 6 touchdowns he had. So you get that whole passing team. It's the same way with rushing. That leading rusher. So you get all of those points there, and they have defense too. So you get to play 2 defenses. So I mean, if you want, Eli's got Indiana up there. I mean, maybe a Pittsburgh team should be up in there. I was actually looking at them a little bit too. So each team is going to be a little bit different. So you want to take a look at what are they doing fully to actually maximize point wise.
And you can do, and what's cool is you can do a transfer portal. Like with me, I was fed up with the Florida Gators overall. Florida's a joke. They really are. They're a bad team. Not good. Not quarterback play might get better with the young guy. Graham Mertz is a joke, but between passing, rushing, defense, Florida they weren't doing it for me. So I was able to transfer Florida for Indiana because Indiana's been playing damn good, especially on defense. I mean, they've been tearing it up. So. That was not, it's a nice feature. If you're unsatisfied, then go pick up a free agent team, do a transfer portal. Indiana was sitting there for me. I love so far. This is our first year of squad blitz together, and I love what those guys do over there, and it's been a lot of fun. And we're actually playing each other this week, so I'm giving away. Hey, big boy, I'm giving away the meal. Snack before the meal. I'm giving the appetizers here.
Sweet Jesus.
Sweet Jesus. I have Georgia has a bye week. Obviously, I would use Georgia for one of these 6. And Wisconsin, I just didn't like some of the categories that they were providing me. So this is who I went with. And if Jay wants to comment or he wants to bring up his team, maybe we'll talk about our whole matchup. I don't know. But passing. And you gotta pick one of the teams for each, So I didn't want to use Duke for defense, didn't want to use Duke for rushing, so I used Duke for passing. A little over 70 points so far in squad blitz. Not bad, solid. Clemson, I kind of had to do it by default. Like I said, George, I would much rather had Carson Beck in Georgia's passing offense. Anthony, Team Eli. You should be on Team Eli. You damn right. And Anthony, beat Jamie, please. Was Anthony part of squad blitz? Because if he's not, you missed the boat. And you need to sign up for that. I love squad blitz so far. Passing Clemson, because you never know with Cade Klubnik, like in the passing game. Maybe Clemson pops this week. Maybe they save the day, because that would be my weak spot so far. I'd say them or probably Louisville's defense going up against Jay. But so Clemson there with the passing, rushing, Notre Dame and Texas A&M. Both teams have kind of been a little disappointing, but we can't argue. I mean, their rushing attack has been great. Both guys so far are both teams both over 120 points each. So I think that's a safe bet. Indiana's defense, that's a no-brainer. I mean, this is the top 5 defense in the country. And Louisville, I mean, they're solid on defense, not great. And better Wisconsin. Wisconsin's only got 39 fantasy points. So I wasn't going to, damn sure wasn't going to go with Wisconsin. And usually Wisconsin's defense, as we know, is usually up there. They're usually one of the better defenses year in, year out, but just not putting up the points so far. So what do you think of the 6? And is there anybody you're on your end? You're like, I got him.
Yeah, I got you this week, man. You're going down. No, I mean it's not a bad, if you
Tell me how you really feel.
No, because I figured because this was gonna be kind of new a segment and stuff like that, so I was gonna try to kind of wrap my head around like how to kind of come across this, how we kind of put that out there. So I mean, it's more the categories of everything combined together. So it's kind of like, well, Duke is Duke. I don't mind Duke. Clemson. I know. I really never been really a fan of Clemson all too much. They really haven't. There's nothing there that really been turning me on. Notre Dame, I mean, their run attack, yes. I mean, if you look, if they're, that's the other thing too is finding the kind of the happy medium between okay, which teams are actually rushing, or you find a like a F or a G5 team to slap in there, like a kid, like from Ohio. I picked up Ohio's rushing team. They actually put up quite a few numbers. They put over 100 some odd yards a game and whatnot. So they blow through us. So I kind of take a factor into Power Fives to G5 teams and try to kind of put things 2 and 2. I guess I'm kind of like, well, and I think it morally comes down to matchups too. So I think that's kind of like do we play Indiana against this team or that team? Yeah, is Louisville playing a harder matchup or a smaller an easier matchup? So I think that some of that comes into play too a little bit, but overall not a bad Texas A&M. Who's there for Texas A&M? Do they have Emmett's kid going off for like 100 some odd yards or something on there?
He's been solid so far. He's been they don't have one of these big names we've been talking about. Ollie Gordon or even Reed from Pitt, Pitt. None of these guys, but as a collective, they're because we know Vigman, he ain't doing a damn thing through the air. It's supposed to be an NFL prospect. The QB, he ain't doing a damn thing. So that's so, and they just smoked Florida. So that probably helped. They probably just ran it down their throat. So I'm hoping they can run it down your throat. So,
well, I mean, so here's my team. I got San Jose's team, passing team.
Don't blame. I don't blame you. I go with.
I got TCU. So maybe hopefully TCU can
both. Yeah. Wait, Hoover's been playing.
Yep, and then I got Arkansas's rushing team, and I got Utah. I mean, Utah, I'm kind of skeptical about because they kind of been pitting people in and out. So I'm like, I really don't like it.
You got to think, man. They're gonna want to control the clock against Oklahoma State's offense, and if Cam Rising, isn't 100. I mean, he's good enough to play, but he's not 100%. I could see them relying more on the ground. So that's actually a good play.
Yeah, I don't know. I kind of been kind of teeter-tottering to like, do I put the Trojans in there because I got the Trojans? Maybe go with them. Maybe I don't know. Or I have Mississippi State too, but I'm like, So I don't know. I might, it all depends.
Defense, maybe.
Yeah. So my defense is Minnesota and Michigan. So we'll kind of see how that kind of goes.
I don't usually, like I said, I'm a Michigan defensive. I'd be like, oh hell yeah, sign me up. I think the Gophers are a great play. Michigan, I don't know. I think USC is going to torch them. I think USC is going to put up yards, points. I don't think Miller Moss is going to, shit the bed and have a couple interceptions or fumble or defensive touchdown. So Michigan would be the one I'd be hesitant on.
I don't know. It's kind of one of those. I'm like, I might swap them out. I'm not sure yet, but I got a little time yet, so I gotta, I can do some digging yet, and it's so this will be kind of our we can just kind of throwing this together, but we'll critique it a little bit more once we kind of get in, more and more with it. So we'll present this to you. So if you're playing Squad Blitz, this is a good option for you to kind of take a look at. So we'll give you some options with those too as well. So I mean, we'll critique this a little bit over the season.
Yeah, and I like it. It's something different. Like you're not so reliant on players. It's more or less a whole unit. Like you don't like Texas A&M doesn't have a particular guy that has 460 yards and 6 rushing touchdowns. You know what I mean? They don't have one of these studs, but as a collective, so I mean they can kind of bail you out. Like Duke's passer, he's not not Jackson Dart. This isn't Ole Miss's offense, but as a collective, they can piece it together. So that's what I like about it. You're not relying on one player. You're kind of reliant on all 11 or at least the skill position guys. So,
Yep.
And then, you know what? We got a little bit before we get out of here. So I'm going to put this up real quick, and I might put it up on X as well.
Yeah.
And just real quick, I was going to give 4 players to watch. And it doesn't have to be for fantasy reasons, but it could be for pick 6 reasons, whatever. But these guys to me are I put a couple passers in there, a couple receivers, a tight end, and a running back. Obviously we've been talking about Johnson from Iowa. He's been another guy that's been tearing it up, just like Reed, and he was a waiver guy a few weeks ago. It probably isn't anymore. He doesn't, that'd be insane. I mean, the guys have top 6, 7 fantasy running back season so far. So Johnson, I put there. Obviously, Nick Nash, San Jose State, playing Washington State this coming week. So Nick Nash going to continue doing what he's doing. Ty Felton, you know what? Felton from Maryland. They're playing an FCS team. I know Villanova. This ain't basketball. Villanova's undefeated. This ain't basketball. You ain't stopping Felton. Felton's been another revelation receiver wise. He's been another revelation. Kind of come out of nowhere. So put Felton in there. I know Jay's a big fan of Felton. He's been talking him up. Fannin Jr. from Bowling Green. We had Stewart, the running back there. Terrian Stewart for like the first week, and I think he got hurt and disappeared. So Terrian Stewart really hasn't done much since. But Fannin Jr. In terms of the offense, he's been picking up the slack. And it's a nice tight end option too. There's not a lot of great tight ends that are available to kind of for whatever your reason is, picking him up, starting him if he's on your bench, if you want to plug him in this week, if you got to buy or whatever. So Fannin Jr. they're playing Texas A&M. Obviously Josh Hoover playing SMU. We've been talking about him all night. Guys, third in passing yards in the country. No interception so far. I don't even think he has a turnover so far. I mean, I don't know how.
I don't think so.
TCU is only 2-1, and that's not because of him. He's been playing out of his mind. Like TCU, not back this year, Jay. Not back, but because in the Big 12 is better than I thought. I mean, you got K-State, Oklahoma State, Utah. You got a bunch of heavy hitters there. So, but TCU could be very respectable this year, especially with Hoover at quarterback. So I'll be looking out for him, especially fantasy wise. And then Morton from Texas Tech. He's quietly been having a really good year, real good year. I think he's in the top 10 or 12 in a couple statistics. So having a really good year. And they're playing Arizona State, which would be
that's gonna be. I think they lose that game.
I think Arizona State's going to win too. Arizona State, I think they're 3-0. Like Arizona State,
they are 3-0. Yeah, they have Scataboo.
You got Pitt, Arizona State, Nebraska. I mean, a few surprise 4-0 teams coming up after this week. But Morton, the quarterback, and if he's available somehow, if he's, we didn't mention him on the waivers because I doubt that he's available, but if he was, go obviously use common sense, go snag him up. If he's a pick 6 option, whatever his categories would be, go snag him up, go use him. Because I think it's gonna be a relatively high scoring game. I think it's gonna be in the 30s with Arizona State and Texas Tech. Maybe a 38-28 Arizona State win or something. So, but yeah. definitely gonna be looking out for these 6 guys.
Sweet. Oh yeah, I was just gonna mention here real quick that Felton is 3rd in the nation. 27 receptions, 447 receiving yards, and 4 touchdowns right now. So I mean, he's in the top 5 behind.
Jay, if he gets those touchdowns up a little bit, like he gets a couple more this week. I mean, then to me he's truly elite. I mean, he's elite with receptions and yards. You just got to get the touchdowns up a little bit, and he'll be a top 5 fantasy receiver, no doubt.
I think he's to me he's kind of a dark horse right now because he's nowhere to be seen on any our NFL draft buzz. He's not on anybody's radars not yet anyways from what I've seen. So I scroll to see, who is like, is he an option for this year's draft? I don't see him anywhere. So I'm like, I think he's like I mentioned last week. I think he's a small dark horse. I mean, if he continues to
He's
have this
eligible.
year, yeah,
No, he's
he is.
he's technically a senior,
Yep.
So he's eligible for the draft. He'd be a guy I would love to, when we start cranking out these spotlights for everybody. He's a guy that I would love to dig into. We love finding these hidden gems. We found Devon Vele. I mean, there's certain guys that I would love to get on the get on the train before all these damn pundits, these big network guys, or Chad over on Palazzo. Oh, I knew about Devon Vele. He's our guy. No, he was our guy first. And Ty Felton's going to be our guy. So yeah, he might be one. We call him the Fab Five or the first five. We're gonna there's a list of 5 guys that we're talking about right now when we get into our spotlights, and he's definitely in the mix. Ty Felton, I'm super impressed with.
I think
he's going to tear up Villanova. I mean, Villanova's they're good in the FCS level. I think they're number 5 in FCS. I mean, they're a respectable FCS program. They ain't got no chance against Maryland. No,
not at all. I mean, just like Nash, I think he's only a junior. I mean, so he's pretty, and I think he might stay there, or maybe he might transfer too. I mean, he could probably rise.
If I'm a big program, especially one that can't, like Notre Dame, for example, that can't move the damn ball through the air, and that joke performance against Northern Illinois, I get on the phone. I'm like, yeah, Nick, we're gonna need you, and we'll pay you handsomely once you come over. You got the academics? Oh, you do? Okay, well. Come on over.
There we go. No, I mean, I think, and the other thing too, I think Caleb Johnson. I mean, he's a junior. I mean, is he? Like he could maybe come out, or maybe he can return, maybe go back to being sophomore. But so I mean, he's kind of in the right now. He's actually at the top of the list too. So I mean, he's him and Genty are actually right at the top there. So it's like damn, dude. I think he's got more yards than Genty right now, but Genty's actually more of the touchdowns though. But so it'll be
interesting to see if Johnson comes back. I'd come back another year. I know it's more carries on his body, another chance to get hurt before the pros. I get it, but I mean, this running backs. I don't think the 2026 NFL draft class or for running backs is going to be as stacked as this coming one, 2025. So he might have a better go of it in terms of his draft position if he just waits a year. So and that'd be great for Iowa. I mean, Iowa, we know they have offensive deficiencies. We know they can't score the ball. So I mean, you don't need to lose your probably your best offensive player. I mean, that'd be a shame. So
yeah, for sure.
We'll see throughout the year how that pans out.
Yeah, for sure. And I have to agree with that too. There's a lot of prospects we can keep an eye on, and it'd be a very interesting 2025 NFL draft for sure, and I'm pretty well, like, I want to start diving into guys like right now, but I'm like,
Ty Felton,
yeah. Well, we'll do it.
And if you guys want to, like I said, Jay's active on everything. I mean, he's everywhere. I'm not as good at I need to be better, but Jay's everywhere. So if you do want. You do have a suggestion for a guy that maybe isn't on the NFL radar, but could be an NFL player or could be an undrafted free agent. Shoot us a message, because there's, like I said, there's guys we have an eye on. Singleton, obviously he's a bigger name from Penn State, the running back. He's another guy that we were looking at for a spotlight. But yeah, if you have another guy in mind, maybe from a smaller school that's popping, who's at least a junior, senior, preferably senior, then we know for sure that they're coming out, especially if they're a receiver or a quarterback. Because running backs will just come out after the junior year just to save their body from the attrition and the carries, and so we get all that. But yeah, if you have a suggestion, comment, message, and we'll try to acquiesce that.
Yeah, make sure you give us a subscribe, give us a like if you on the video. Pretty much follow all of our platforms. All those links are in the description below. So Spotify, Apple, Discord, and all them. So if you want to jump in a Discord, tune that up a little bit. We got 2025 channel for the NFL prospects. We can talk prospects. If you're into and even if you're in the NFL, I mean, we got a little channel in there for you if you want to ask start sits questions or whatever like that. That's all in there too as well. I mean, even if you collect cards, I'm a card collector. You can see all the cards back there. So I mean, yeah.
I live in a jungle with Jim Morrison back there, and Jamie's got the house of cards.
Yes, but yeah, we appreciate everybody that jumped in the live chat down there. We appreciate everybody that jumped in there. Yeah, and after this video, maybe give us a like. If you come across us, leave a comment down there if you like something that you saw, or just leave a comment down there as well. But yeah, I think that's about it. We got a little late start, and
Got
it
it
turned out.
done.
We got her done. And we
Great. Got it done.
Yeah. So
One of-
we will
Another one in the books.
But yeah, we'll see you guys. We will see you guys next Wednesday, and say kind of keep a lookout for those college spotlights too as well.
Yeah, and Jay will put it up if we can swing it, possibly a last call week 3 and for the NFL side of it, like start sit last minute pickups if you if an injury happens between in practice or something weird happens, somebody's suspended, Tyreek Hill gets arrested, and you need a fill-in receiver in Miami or whatever.
Yeah.
So we'll let you know about that, but for sure college next Wednesday, and spotlights are coming. The college spotlights that we did last year are coming, like Jay was saying. So, good things coming.
Yes, there is. So, other than that, everybody, we thank you for tuning in to us, and we will see you guys next Wednesday. Later.